Soulframe combat just got a lot more interesting. Preludes 11 added totems that can enhance your weapons and runes that will boost your power. Let's talk about how to get them, how to upgrade them, and how they work. We're going to start with totems because you can equip totems even if you don't yet have a rune. Totems are animal-themed enhancements for your weapons. They can give you a variety of passive bonuses, which we'll talk about in a moment. You get totems by rescuing animals from cages or by charming animals with your Fipple flute. To charm an animal, run up to it and use the same key combo you'd use for Soul Steal. This music staff will show you the song you need to play to receive that animal's totem. Each animal has its own charming song, and you can go to the Fipple flute section of your keybinds to customize the key used to play each note. These blue circles show you how many notes you must play successfully to get that animal's totem. The system is pretty forgiving and will let you try again as many times as you need to get the minimum number of notes required. A perfectly timed note will get this little heart icon and will earn you some harmony, a currency used for upgrades. If you fill all of the blue circles with perfect notes, then when the song is finished, you'll get to pet the animal you charmed. Sometimes you'll see the harmony icon show up in the music staff while you're attempting to charm an animal. Playing the corresponding note at the right time will earn you bonus harmony for your upgrades. You do lose some harmony when you miss notes, but you can't end up with a negative amount. How much harmony you gain from perfect notes and bonuses seems to depend on rarity. The totems you get from charming animals come in 3 rarities: common, uncommon, and rare. Common and uncommon animals look the same in the wild, but rare animals will sometimes have a pale coloration. Each totem fits into a single weapon type, and its rarity is fixed for that weapon type. For example, ducks will always be common on bows, uncommon on long blades, and rare on magic weapons. Totem bonuses scale with their rarity, and this seems to be balanced based on each weapon type's base stats, although I wouldn't be surprised if we see some tweaks here over time. The icon that shows you which weapon a totem fits in is located in the top left corner of the totem's info card or in the bottom left corner of its icon in your inventory. To equip a totem, go to your arsenal and hover over a weapon's icon. You can find the keybind for opening the Rune and Totems interface here. The game calls this Magics, and the default keybind is right-click on keyboard and mouse. With no rune equipped in the center spot, your weapon can hold 3 totems. 1 in a defense slot, 1 in a utility slot, and 1 in an offense slot. Clicking on an empty totem slot will show you all of your available totems that fit that weapon. You can untick the compatible circle to see all your totems for every weapon, and you can tick the compendium circle to see which totems you haven't collected yet. Hovering over a totem in this menu will bring up that totem's info card with its bonus for that specific slot highlighted. So, if I equip a squirrel in the attack slot of this long blade, I'll get more attack speed. If I equip it in the defense slot, I'll get a longer parry window. And if I equip it in the utility slot, I'll get an increased smite chance. If you have duplicate totems, you can release them to get more harmony. You can equip multiple copies of the same totem in your weapon, but the most you need right now is 4, so you can safely release any extras you get. If you hover over an equipped totem in your Magics interface, you'll see a prompt here showing your keybind for upgrading that totem, as well as how much harmony the next upgrade will cost. The more rare a totem, the more harmony it will cost to upgrade, and the cost of all upgrades increases at each rank. You can equip totems in more than one weapon at a time, so, for example, if you want to run all squirrels on all of your bows, you'd still only need 4 max rank squirrels. Now that we know how to equip and upgrade totems, let's talk about what they do. In general, totems have similar bonuses across all weapon types, with a few exceptions for weapons with special mechanics. Remember, the amount of bonus you get will depend on how rare that totem is for each weapon, and bonuses only apply when the weapon is drawn, so you don't get bonuses from both your sidearm and your main weapon at the same time. First up, we have the Crowned, our deer totem. A deer in your attack slot will cause your weapon to deal more stagger on primary attacks, so it works on both light and heavy attacks, but not on throws, arrow hails, or orbiting flyblades. A deer in your defense slot gives you additional stability, causing you to take less stagger from enemy attacks. A deer in your utility slot causes you to heal for a small amount when you steal an enemy soul after a smite. Next is the Maker, our beaver totem. A beaver in your attack slot will give you armor strip on hail for bows, on orbit for flyblades, and on all attacks for all other weapons. This appears to proc only once per enemy and does not seem to have a duration. Unlike most other totem effects, Beaver's armor debuff does persist after you swap weapons, but it cannot stack. So if you proc the Beaver's armor strip with your sidearm, then swap to a main weapon that also has an armor strip, the new attack will overwrite the buff from the old one, regardless of which is stronger. Armor strips from multiple envoys don't stack luck either. The most recent hit will always determine which debuff is active, regardless of who applied it. A beaver in your defense slot will cause you to reflect some stagger back at your enemy when you block an attack. A beaver in your utility slot will strip your enemy's armor when you steal its soul after a smite. The messenger is our squirrel totem. A squirrel in your attack slot will give you increased attack speed for all weapons except bows, which get increased charge rate instead. A squirrel in your defense slot will increase your parry window, allowing you to be a bit less precise with your block timing for a successful parry. A squirrel in your utility slot will increase your base smite chance. The Stalwart is our rabbit totem, which very appropriately enhances your kicks. A rabbit in your attack slot increases the charge rate of the next heavy attack after you kick. A rabbit in your defense slot increases the amount of stagger dealt by your kicks. And a rabbit in your utility slot gives you a chance to smite when you kick. The Scavenger is our rat totem. A rat in your attack slot causes your attack to deal splash damage to nearby enemies. The range on this is quite good and the amount of damage you get is excellent. A rat in your defense slot increases your physical armor, and a rat in your utility slot causes you to deal stagger in an AoE around your target when you steal a soul. Finally, we have the Yielding, our duck totem. A duck in your attack slot causes special attacks to slow your targets. This means thrown attacks on melee weapons, heavy attacks on magic weapons, orbiting flyblades, and arrow hail on bows. A duck in your defense slot increases your magic armor. A duck in your utility slot increases the smite chance on special attacks, in this case, perfect throws for melee weapons, orbiting flyblades, and fully charged attacks for bows and magic weapons. This currently does work for perfect throws and orbiting flyblades, but does not work for bows or magic weapons. With all these totems, we have a ton of different bonuses to choose from and a lot of room to build around our preferred playstyles. In general, I love this system, but there are a few balance issues that I hope get some attention. At the moment, rats are just incredibly strong in attack slots on every weapon. In theory, they aren't best in slot for single target fights, but Soulframe combat almost always involves groups of enemies or bosses with adds, and the amount of extra damage you get from rats easily outweighs the benefit from Beaver's armor strip or Squirrel's charge rate. Squirrels on bows are especially bad because the difference they make is extremely small. I was so excited about squirrels when I first saw their bonus, but they are even more disappointing than the charge rate bonus from Polished Joinery. They are easily the worst attack totem for bows, which is just so disappointing after how excited I was about their concept. I was also really excited about ducks and utility slots on bows, and I think I still am, but it's hard to tell while they're bugged. Hopefully DE fixes this soon, because if they work as described, they're going to be awesome. Otherwise, I really love how versatile totems are. They inspire me to build weapons in different ways and try out playstyles I wouldn't have considered before. Even if they aren't all perfectly balanced now, they're still interestingly different, and it's fun to play around with different builds. So now that we know what all the different totems do, how do you go find the specific totems you want? Animals tend to hang out in areas where you'd expect to find them in the wild. Beavers and ducks can usually be found around creeks, ponds, and coastlines. Rabbits, deer, and squirrels are most common in meadows and forests. And rats tend to show up near villages and farms, or in Birdie's Bog, although I've also seen rats in the Undercity of Durmac. I've found a few animal cages in the glades of Andoran, but no wild animals, and I have yet to see any animals at all in Neathans. Finally, let's talk about runes. Runes are extremely powerful weapon enhancements that automatically activate whenever you soul steal an enemy. So far we have 3 runes in Soulframe, but we know there will be more runes in the future. Please, DE, give me a rune that lets me heal with my bow. I miss Garen Root's idle power. Runes drop from specific world bosses. Etheldred the Weaver drops Alka's Breath, the bow rune. Discharged Nimrod drops Everflame, the melee rune. And Wraith of Wastes drops Archstorm, the magic weapon and Flyblades rune. Equipping your rune works just like equipping a totem. Open your Magic's interface, click on the rune slot in the center, and select your rune. Equipped runes will open up a 4th totem slot on your weapon. Alka's Breath gives you a 2nd utility slot, Everflame gives you a 2nd attack slot, and Archstorm gives you a 2nd defense slot. These 2nd slots can sometimes be a bit buggy though. For example, right now if you have Everflame and equip 2 beavers in your attack slots, you will only get the armor strip from the first one. 2nd slot bugs were supposedly fixed in Hotfix 4, so the issue with beavers might have to do with how the armor debuff works rather than the functionality of extra totem slots. For now, you should only equip 1 attack beaver at a time, and as always, check the pinned comment for updated info. You can upgrade your rune the same way you upgrade totems. Your first upgrade will cost 5,000 harmony, your second will cost 10,000, and your third will cost 20,000. You can equip the same rune on more than one weapon, so there's no reason to hang on to duplicates. Instead, you can release your extra runes to get more harmony, again, just like you do with totems. Stealing an enemy's soul will instantly activate your rune. Alka's Breath will enhance your bow with arcanic power, making it deal massive damage. Everflame will imbue your weapon with fire, causing it to deal extra damage and ignite enemies you hit. Archstorm will mark enemies with this blue light. It procs even on blocked hits, but seems to have an internal cooldown for orbiting flyblades. After 1 second, this mark will call down a lightning strike, dealing massive damage to its target. Each activated rune has a duration that slowly runs down over time, and will keep running out even if you sheath or swap weapons. You can refresh this duration by stealing another soul. This means that smite chance builds are extremely strong. Fortunately, Soulframe gives us several sources of smite chance, so we do have room for creativity when building for rune activation. Smite, Vaunt, Misdirection, Twist of Luck, Salted Blade, and Final Blow are all combat arts that increase smite chance in different ways, and now Squirrels and Ducks give us 2 new options. And, of course, Orengal's Howl is easily the most consistent way to activate your rune, making Orengal one of our strongest packs in Preludes 11, despite the recent nerf to Pack Hunter, as long as you have at least 1 rune. And that is how totems and runes work in Soulframe Preludes 11. Personally, I'm really looking forward to fixes for bow utility ducks because I love charge shot builds. I also hope bow attack squirrels get enough of a buff to make them a competitive alternative to attack rats. Although that splash damage is pretty fun too, and gets especially entertaining with melee weapons and Everflame. If you enjoyed this video, please help it out with a like and subscribe for more Soulframe content. What's your favorite totem so far? Let me know in the comments. And until next time, happy hunting!